Go ahead and unmute it. Turn this down. And probably turn this up. Okay.
So we're gonna meet up here or on the YouTube?
Yeah, so so we're gonna use Collaborate like for us to be live. I think I'm gonna recommend that you pretty much listen to YouTube, but if you have a question or you need to get my attention, then you want to come back to Collaborate, because Collaborate is really good for us to just talk audibly, as we kind of go about it. But
Mm-hmm.
but the real communication is going to be on our YouTube channel. So I'm gonna on the belt line.
You want it to be on the YouTube channel?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and open that. Yeah, I think it's fine. Oh, that's too loud. Hello.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and head to the YouTube channel now.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So it is. We are streaming live on YouTube. So my YouTube channel. I see we got somebody else in attendance. So since I think this is our first official time actually linking together, so as a heads up, on Wednesday I did do a full session. So let me go ahead and share those links with everyone. So you can actually go to the live session right now on YouTube, and I just have the waiting room display right there. I'm going to mute the YouTube in just a moment so we can take attendance, and actually let me go ahead and do that right now. Okay. So I just took attendance on YouTube. We should be back. I'm kind of listening as well to just kind of make sure things are working properly. So yeah, let me see. Last time we did section 1.1, an overview of statistics. So today we're just going to keep moving forward and go into section 1.2. All right, so I know that that's working. 1.2, is this it? Nope. Let's see, done, cancel. Nope. Let's go here. Yeah, this one. So will I get unlimited attempts on the homework? Yes, you get unlimited attempts on the homework. So the homework, so any assignment that's posted will be due, like all the assignments for the week are due that Saturday by 11:59 p.m. So any assignments that I post, so far we've done section 1.1, and we're going to do 1.2 today and possibly 1.3. Anything that we talk about in class, those are assignments. Let me turn this down some. Those assignments are due. Assignments are due weekly at Saturday night, 11:59 p.m. You will be able to access them after the due date, but it's going to be a penalty. Let me open in PowerPoint. Let me turn this down because that's totally distracting. Okay, it's a little bit better. We would like to, I'm going to print or export. So I'm about to hop over to YouTube in just a minute. I want to print, open in, share, Notability, new note. This is data classification. So 1.2 data classification. Okay. This is app stats. We meet Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon. This is 20 spring. I think that's okay. Go back. Turn this up just a little bit. Okay, cool. Feel okay with that. We're going to import. Cool, that's looking good. And we're going to add a page. And right here. Okay. So, all right. So I am monitoring the live chat. So like there are a couple of ways that you can get my attention if you have a question. I know that most students were able to be on, the ones in attendance right now, we were able to get on the Collaborate and we can talk back and forth and have a live audio. But I'll periodically will check the live chat. So you can either post a question in the live chat or just go back to Collaborate and say, hey, Mr. Pfeffer, I have a question. And we can address any questions. Let me pause for a moment. So I know that we didn't really link up last class. Did y'all want to ask any questions about what we did on Wednesday? What we did on Wednesday, the videos are posted. If you need a link, I can send it to you. We went through the syllabus. So there's a full lecture. There's a full video on that. And then we did section 1.1, an introduction to statistics. That was all on Wednesday. Those videos are on my YouTube. You definitely want to get attendance credit. Okay, so what ways to get attendance credit? We definitely want to be in attendance on the live sessions. If you can't miss it, it's not going to be a big deal, but you definitely got to reach out and say, hey, just be in communication. So attending, being present and during a live session, getting your homework, getting your assignment submitted on time, and honestly just being in high communication, and we'll work it out. But if you're a no show, no call, then that's a recipe for, accumulating unexcused absences. I think we're allowed 3 unexcused absences before we're automatically withdrawn. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to this screen so you can see me. So hello, I'm Mr. Pfeffer. I'll be your instructor for this course. Yeah. So again, let me know if you have questions about last time. Again, those full lectures are on my YouTube. Another thing, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Shameless plug. But we're going to be using this to communicate. So I like YouTube. I'm able to share my screen. It works. So that's why I'm using it. I couldn't figure out how to share my screen with Collaborate and have the functionality like I would like. So that's why I'm doing it via YouTube. But the reason I say share and subscribe, but you definitely want to have your notifications turned on. So you set that up and you can choose your notifications. That way, when I go live, all you really have to do is click on that live link and you're right there. Once you set it up, the hardest part is setting things up. Another point of clarification. So throughout the night, I actually received information, and we can actually get full access to Pearson complimentary as a result of being forced to go online. the publishers have been working with institutions and offering um, they've been offering complimentary full access to these online learning platforms. So if you check your email from GMC, again, you want to have your GMC emails forwarded to an email that you check, and you can actually get full access to Pearson. So the code, I have enough uses for the number of students that we have in our course. So you just want to check your emails. Let me know if you need help figuring that out. Go ahead and follow the instructions. The instructions on how to create an account are in the syllabus. The access code, I sent it in a separate email, okay? And just kind of follow the instructions. Let me know if you need help with that, anything. Let's take a minute or two and let me just get 3 people to basically introduce yourself. Just do your last name. So like say Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so. And just tell me like something interesting about yourself, right? So while you kind of get that together, in case there's a delay, I'll go first. So kind of be ready. My name is Mr. Pfeiffer, and something interesting about me is I consider myself a technology whisperer. What that means is that like I've noticed that when I get around people, they're like, "Oh, this thing doesn't work," and I'm like, "Let me look at it." And I look at it, and then all of a sudden, just like that, it'll be working. I honestly believe that like the technology responds to our energy. If we call the technology like stupid, dumb, or the stupid thing don't work, it's gonna respond to how we treat it. It's gonna respond to the way what we expect. We tend to become what we expect or whatever. So when I work with my technology, I'm like, look, I'm gonna treat it like a being. I'm gonna be patient and kind with it, and it responds way better. So long story short, I consider myself a technology whisperer. Um, if you are gonna be audible, you might want to switch back over to collaborate. And so can I get 3 people to just introduce yourself? Just say this is Mr. Just your last name, or Mrs. or Miss Just your last name, and something interesting about yourself. Can I get somebody? I need 3 people to do it. Can we get somebody going?
I'll start.
Okay.
This is Miss Diedrich.
Miss Diedrich, welcome.
Yes. And something about me, I can normally tell when people are lying to me.
Ooh.
I can sniff it out in their face or in their voice or body language.
Ooh.
And I'm proud of that.
Yeah, you sound like the circle that I run in. I consider myself a multidimensional being having a human experience. I mean, I can even back some of these notions with a lot of science. And like so in my circles, yeah, we consider that like being empathic, and like they were talking about that, like you'll be talking.
I call myself an empath.
It took me a while to consider myself an empath, but when I thought about it, I was like, that makes perfect sense, because what I was noticing was that I would just be getting like these crazy emotions for no reason. I was like, why am I upset right now? Like I have no reason to be upset, or why am I like these emotions would just come out of nowhere. And I was like,
but it's someone else's.
Right, I was in somebody's field, and it was usually a neighbor or somebody like that. So that was interesting. But yeah, that's what they were saying. They were like, they can sniff out lies. They'll be like, okay, somebody will be telling them something. And it was like, yeah, you're telling me this, but what I'm hearing is something completely different. And so, and honestly, not to tell no lie, I feel the same way about mathematics. That's why I'm constantly asking the students questions. Because when I ask you a question based on your timing, how you respond, what you're saying, I get a clear sense of what you've been doing, whether you've been practicing or not. But again, I try to be, respectful of people's personal privacy. I don't pry. I just know how it makes me feel. And so it's like if students haven't been practicing, I try not to make a big deal about it. Sometimes it does piss me off. But we all are spiritual beings having a human experience. So it's just like I try to give people a chance to like, okay, straighten it out for themselves, take your time, and just get it done. Do what you need to do, meet me halfway. But that's awesome. That's fantastic. Can we get 2 more people? We need a second person to just say this is Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so. And something interesting about yourself. Anybody else? Nobody? I'm going to give it a couple of more seconds. Nobody else? Okay. So I'll let that be. What you would have to do to get the audio, you would have to go back over to Collaborate on our Moodle page and access the audio from there. But that was actually really good. But all the students, you all have access to Collaborate. You go to our Moodle, click on the link for today, and you can actually, if you have a question, you can go there and get my attention. Say, unmute yourself, and so we can talk back and forth and we can get our questions answered. I'm also monitoring the live chats. Okay. I used to have an overlay, but it's not been working. I think YouTube did an update, and I haven't figured out how to work around the update just yet. But yeah, so again, we did do a full lecture on this past Wednesday. They were recorded, and they are on my YouTube channel. So we want to watch those and take notes as if we're sitting in class. And then I'm available via email. My office hours are there. I do virtual office hours. It's very similar to the lecture. I just, I'm just available, kind of monitoring my emails, checking emails, responding. I can go live if I need to. But yeah, you want to watch the intro, and I think we did section 1.1. Watch those, take notes as if you're in class, and then just reach out if you have questions. So, Mr. Tinney, if you want to go audible, hop back over to Collaborate and unmute yourself, and then we can because that's important. If you can get your audio going, so that way as we're going through the lecture, if you have questions, we can kind of talk live. So it's like you're basically talking over the phone, but we can be live in our dialogue, and that's actually a huge help. Okay, that was fun though. I actually enjoyed that. I'm still kind of interested to hear from 2 more students. I think I would like to have 2 more students, but if I can't get the participation, it's gonna be what it is. And we're actually gonna move forward and go into today's lecture. So again, last time we did do section 1.1, so today we're gonna just move forward with the next one. Oh, let me go ahead and make this statement. So we have weekly assignments that are due every Saturday by 11:59 p.m. You can anticipate either a quiz or an exam every week. All of this is going to be via Pearson. You just do it on Pearson, you hit submit. That's all you got to do. You don't have to put it anywhere else. You just submit it on Pearson and you're good to go. Somebody's there? I can hear it.
Yep.
Who do we have? Mr.
Yep, it's me.
Who's me? Mr. Last name?
Tinney.
Mr. Tinney. How you doing?
Doing good.
So we have Mr. Tinney. Can you tell us something interesting about yourself?
Well, all I gotta say is my name is.
Wait. Only your last name, because we are streaming live on YouTube, so I don't want your personal information out there. Just your last name. Yeah.
Wow.
It's okay.
Well, okay. My name is Mr. Tinney.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you one interesting thing. Mr. Pfeiffer does not like Android.
So Mr. Tinney took me for a course a couple of quarters ago. It was college algebra. And so I don't know how this happened. I think I made that statement about being a technology whisperer before. And so he's seen me going back and forth with my Apple stuff, the iPad and all this other stuff. And I was sharing with them, like, I pretty much have all these Apple devices except for the iWatch or whatever. And so somehow we got on Mr. Tinney having this Android, and I was like, "Oh, you Android?" He was like, "Oh, you Apple? You think you better?" I was like, "No, I don't care. It just works." So now he's our official Android correspondent, because he knows that I'm on Apple. But I'm glad that he's here though, because like it got a little turbulent during that quarter. It got kind of scary. I know one day, he was in front of the school and something happened just like that out of nowhere, and we weren't sure if he was going to be here. So I'm so glad and grateful that things worked out the way that they did, because I know who's in my presence, because only certain beings can come in my presence, whether they like me or not. I know I'm in the presence of a light being, because I'm a light being, and only certain energies and only certain beings can come in my presence and stay in my presence. So because I know who I am, and like attracts like, I know who I'm in the presence of. I know I'm in the presence of divine, ultimate beautiful energies and beings. Once we get past the whole Android thing, I'm not going to fault him for the Android thing. That's not his fault, I was just giving him a hard time just because. But that's the long and short of all of that. Okay. So, but yeah, so he's our official Android correspondent. So, whenever we have trouble with Apple, Mr. Tinney's going to be ours. Like, see, tripping on the Apple stuff. Okay. So I think there's still one more slot. If we can get another student to kind of just say your last name and something interesting about yourself. I see in the chat, I think Mr. Tinney was saying that is interested in automotive engineering. That's actually a very reputable field to go into. I low-key want to be an engineer. I think I could do it, but you would create a great life. You will be compensated. It seems like fun. Low-key like Tony Stark from like Iron Man. is an engineer, and like people are doing it. Like there are videos right now in this realm where people have essentially made an Iron Man suit where they could fly around like Iron Man. There's a video of a guy he made, and like this, so it's very with the technology being the way it is, especially with like quad propellers, the quad chopper, or whatever. People are making like personal flying devices. There's so many different techniques that you can actually do right now. There was a guy that made like an Iron Man suit, and he flew like either 3,000. It's either 3,000 feet, 3,000 meters above a city for like 20 or 30 minutes, something like that. So people are doing it, and this is an exciting time to be alive amidst all this other calamity. But it's just exciting. You know what I mean? So let me see. So that's neither here nor there. Let's kind of get into the meat and potatoes again. So it is important to be able to go, and if you could, when you're done, just mute yourself so that you know. But yeah, so just get my attention. Like I said, I'm trying to monitor the live chat, and if you have questions, you know, don't hesitate to get my attention.
Got it.
Yeah, so just be sure to mute yourself while you're not talking. Okay, so let's kind of keep going where we left off. So 1.1 is very short, it's very light, it's just some terminology. It was an overview of statistics. Okay, so again, you just want to watch that video, take notes if you're in class, and contact me if you have any questions. I have posted some assignments on Pearson that are due this Saturday. Yeah, I can't, and you should be able to get full access. And just contact me if you're not able to figure that out. So today we're going to move into section 1.2 and talk about some data classification. So some objectives for this section are how to distinguish between qualitative data and quantitative data, and how to classify data with respect to the 4 levels of measurements: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So if you are in attendance live right now, it's probably a good idea to hop back over to, what is it called? Collaborate. You might want to listen at Collaborate right now because I'm about to ask a question. So it says that how to distinguish between qualitative data and quantitative data. So could I get someone to explain to me the difference between something that's qualitative versus something that's quantitative? What's the difference between qualitative versus quantitative? All right, can I get someone to, explain that?
Quantitative is like...
Oh, sorry. If you could say that this is Miss So-and-so, and then, so I know who I'm speaking with, and then...
Oh, this is Miss Diedrich.
Miss Diedrich.
Quantitative is like numerical.
Okay.
And it measures the counts, versus qualitative is like non-numerical things like labels or
right
qualities. That
makes perfect sense, like, right? Because quantity is how much, and quality is like a characteristic or a description, right? So just like that's what those terms mean in everyday language. That's essentially what they mean for this discussion. So qualitative data consists of attributes. So quality is a characteristic or a description. It consists of attributes, labels, or non-numerical entries. So like your major in school, your place of birth, or your eye color. It looks like he's totally going to poke his eye out. That like is wigging me out a little bit. This image, like, it looked like he's totally, like, it looked like he's already taken his eye out. It's kind of creeping me out a bit. It just looks weird to me. Here we go. All right. So, but yeah, so qualitative data is a characteristic, a non-numerical description. So then versus a quantitative data is going to be a numerical measurement or a count. So like your age, that's a number. The weight of a letter, that's a number. The temperature, that's going to be a number, right? So that's what we mean by quantitative data. Okay, let's see what's next. So we have an example, and I don't want to show the solution. I think we're okay. So can I get a volunteer to read this example for me? Can I just get a volunteer to read this example? I feel like I'm Gucci Mane in 2006. Why? Can I get a volunteer to read this example for me? I don't know what Gucci Mane did in 2006. Can I get a volunteer to read this example? Because I know it's a delay, so I was trying to give you time for the delay.
The classifying data by type one?
Yeah, I'm speaking with Miss Diedrich. Is that right?
Diedrich, sorry.
Yeah, you're good, Miss Diedrich.
So it says, the table shows sports-related head injuries treated in the U.S. emergency rooms during a 5-year span for several sports. So which data are qualitative data and which are quantitative data?
Okay. So we have qualitative versus quantitative. So what would you think would be the qualitative data?
The sport.
Right. So all the sports stuff, because there's no numbers there. So that means that what the next one should be our quantitative, right? The numbers. I think that's pretty straightforward, right? So the qualitative data, anything that's non-numerical entries, and then the numerical entries is going to be our quantitative data. So I kind of want to pause for a moment to see if anyone have any questions. If not, I'm going to move forward. So thank you for that. That was awesome. So next we have levels of measurement. So let me see. I want to say for these slides, let's go ahead and have everybody, if you can, you should be able to pull up this PDF on your own. And it might be better if you listen on Collaborate. You can decide whichever one you want to listen to. So that way when I ask questions, we don't have so much of a delay. And I want to say that these slides don't require a lot of writing. I could switch over to Collaborate, but I'm just used to Notability right now. But it's probably best that you all.
You might want to just do that.
Huh? Well, yeah. Well, no. The reason I might. Let me think about it. Let me see if I can get it going. Hang on.
Yeah, you might want to do it.
Hang on. Reconnect. Let me see. Give me just a moment. So the reason I'm not using Collaborate, can you all hear me? Let's go back to our session. And I think the code was this one. Okay. So share the video. I will hop back over to you. Let's stay here and Collaborate. I'll load the PDF. Give me just a moment. Because I feel like with this would work a little bit better on Collaborate because we don't have to do a lot of writing for these. Let me share a file. My hesitation with Collaborate was because it's showing a little bit more sensitive information, but I think I can get around it. So we're going to give it a go. Let's get a copy. Let's go to Box. This is this one. This is App Stats. Files. Shoot, it's not there. Let's go back. Let's go to Box. Apply statistics. Where is it? Spring. No, it's not there. Today. Maybe I was just having it in the wrong. Course files. Notes. Yeah, PowerPoint lecture slides. All right, and we're in section 1.2. This is actually kind of working okay. And converting. Give it just a moment because I know it's loading. Okay, let's open up this. Share now. Go ahead.
Don't diss me on the Android just yet.
Uh-oh. Because I'm not dissing you. I'm just playing the dozens. Okay. Let's see. Can I do this? If I can do this, this will be awesome. Darn, it's not working. Let me try this. That works. Can I hit enter or spacebar? Nothing. That's okay. Can I swipe? No swipe either. But I can write. I like that. We'll give it a go. I'm going to hide this. All right. I think this is okay. Can I make it bigger? What is this? Full screen? Come on. No?
There we go.
Hang on. This is not. Come on. Shouldn't be like that. There it is. Okay. So then if I hit this, does that do anything? No. What if I hit this? That's okay. That's not what I want. That's okay. 1-to-1. Can I just go like this? Okay. All right. That's there. I think we're going to work with this for now. Okay, I'm going to switch back over. So we're going to stay on collaborate, and I'm going to just show this screen on, yeah, here. Okay, so we'll be here in collaborate because I know that for these slides, it's not a lot of writing that we need to do. We're just kind of having a discussion, right? So that way we don't have that delay, and it, you know, it'll behave a lot better. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. So to get back to where we were, so we did this one. Okay. I guess that's just going to be what it is. Let me not worry about that. I guess what I could do, let's unlock this. And just for a little bit of security, let's kind of put it like this. That'll help a little bit. Okay. So we're back at it. All right. So now let's go back. So we just did this example. All right. So then now, so we talked about quantitative data versus qualitative data. So now let's talk about different levels of measurements. So the first level of measurement, can I like zoom? I guess so. So the first level of measurement is the nominal level of measurement. Nominal level. So the nominal level is going to be qualitative data only, so no numbers, right? So just descriptions, characteristics. It's categorized using names, labels, or quantities. There are no mathematical computations can be made. So that's the first level of measurement that we have. The second level that we have is called the ordinal level. Ordinal, like if you see the word ordinal, what word comes to mind that begins with O-R-D? Any word comes to mind for anyone?
Ordinary.
Ordinary. To me, ordinal looks like order. It's like order, right? So when I see ordinal, the way I remember that one, because ordinal level means that now not only are we talking about qualitative data, but now we're also talking about quantitative data. So we still have qualitative, but we could also have numbers now. The data can be put in a certain order or it can be put in a ranking order. But the difference between the data entries is not meaningful. What we mean by that, like if we have the top 5 television programs. Oh, I have the dual. I didn't even realize that. Can I move this? I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about that. That's fine. We get split screen, or we get to see the delay. That's kind of interesting. So, for instance, if we list the top 5 television shows, we're just saying that these are the top 5, but we can't put them. Let me see. The data can be put in order or ranked. Oh, okay. So we could put them in order. Okay. Well, we'll see some examples in a moment. Let's look and see an example. I was trying to pull one off the head. Can I get a volunteer to read this one and give what they think is the answer? Somebody that.
For each data set,
Is this
determine
Mr. Is this Mr. Tenney?
Wait, what happened?
Is this your last name again?
Mr. Tenney.
Yeah. Okay.
For the nominal level or at the
ordinal, like yeah, not. I think it's like nominal and ordinal. Yeah.
Ordinal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ordinal level. Explain your reasoning.
So what does the number 1 tell us? What is that chart about?
number one.
No, I mean like what's
Number
the?
one would really be.
Well, no. I mean what's the title? What are those? What are these items? What are these 5 items? The title,
Well,
the title of the chart.
I would say ordinal.
Wait.
Top five.
Yeah.
Top five. U.S. occupations with the most job growth.
Okay, so the first chart tells us the top 5 occupations with the most job growth. What does the second chart tell us?
Movie genres.
So if we're trying to decide between nominal versus ordinal, again, nominal was its only characteristics and no numbers, and ordinal, we could have, now we're introducing numbers and we can put it in a ranking order. So would you say that the first chart is nominal or ordinal?
I would say nominal.
Why would you say nominal over ordinal? What's the difference between Pardon?
Because, well,
because remember,
it's really ordinal.
Right, because ordinal means that we can put it in some kind of order, all right? We should be able to. So this first chart says the top 5 occupations, so we can put it in an order, so that one should be ordinal. And the second one is no numbers, so we can't put it in any kind of ranking order, so that one we would say it should be nominal. So let's see how do we do. So if we go to the next slide, the first one is ordinal. It lists the rank. It lists the rank of the 5 largest jobs groups. The data can be put in an order, but we can't talk about the difference from one item to the next. For instance, like if we said 4 minus 2, that doesn't mean that it doesn't really mean anything as far as you can't subtract the entries, right? So even though we can put these in rank and order, those numbers don't really tell us anything. We can't talk about the difference between one entry and another. It doesn't give us any information about it. All we can do is put it in a ranking order. And then the example on the right is going to be genres. It's the nominal level because there's no numbers, no mathematical computations can be made, and it cannot be put in a ranking order. Does anyone have any questions with that? Any questions about that? Anyone?
No.
Okay, let's move forward. Okay, so the next level of measurement is called the interval level of measurement. So the first one was nominal. Then we talked about ordinal. What's the time? We get out. We got
125.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're okay. Got about 40 minutes. Okay. So we've talked about nominal. We've talked about ordinal. Next is called the interval level of measurement. So at the interval level, we still have quantitative data, and the data can be put in order just like the ordinal level. But now we can talk about the difference between data entries. So when we say like one entry minus another, it has a meaning, right? And then also at the interval level, 0 represents a position on a scale. It's not an inherent 0. So what we mean by that is like if you think of like a timeline, 0 is going to be a placeholder, but it doesn't mean none. So 0 being a placeholder is like on a timeline or a scale, right? You can actually go negative, right? For the interval level of measurement. Versus with the next one we have is the ratio level of measurement. At the ratio level of measurement, it's similar to interval level, but in this context, the 0 entry does mean none. It's an inherent 0 and it implies none, right? Let me do like this really quickly. Let's go. Go ahead.
Is the ordinal level, does it involve around like the qualitative data or the quantitative data?
It's data that can be put in a ranking order. So there will be numbers there are numbers introduced, but we can't talk about, like, once you put it in order, we can't talk about the difference between the entries. So, versus
that will revolve around quantitative.
It can be it can be quantitative, but it's just that we can now put it in a ranking order, because ordinal means that we can put it in order, right? And the interval level, we can put it in order, but now we can talk about the difference between the entries. Let's view an example really quickly. We're going to view an example. Let me just go here really quickly. There should be a shortcut to do this. No. Yeah, that's what I wanted. All right. Let's see. Are people still there? So if you are live in attendance, before we separate, make sure that you're getting your attendance credit. All right. So I think we took attendance at the start of class. you got to remind me. Make sure that you're getting your attendance credit. Okay. So if you didn't officially get your attendance credit before we leave, you got to stop me and say, hey, can I get my attendance credit? And so we can make sure that that's in order. So let's see. So the ratio level of measurement is similar to interval, but now instead of 0 being a placeholder, now we have what's called an inherent 0. An inherent 0 means that 0 implies none. Let's see an example. And also, one entry can be expressed as a multiple of another. Let's see this. Let's see this in action. May I get a volunteer that has yet to read? Can I get someone to work through this example or read through this example for me? Someone that has not read. And you remember, as we come on, we introduce ourselves. We say, "This is Mr. So and So or Miss So and So," and so I know who we're speaking with.
This is Miss Collier.
Greetings, Miss Collier.
All right. So you can start reading.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Levels of measurement. Ratio level of measurement. Similar to interval level, 0 entry is inherent 0 implies none. A ratio of 2 data values can be formed, and one data value can be expressed as a multiple of another.
Let me see in the chat. So, Miss Collier, we need to go back. Just go to Collaborate. You're on YouTube, I think. We got to hop over to Collaborate. Yeah.
Classifying data by level.
Yeah, that's fine. Yes. That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no worries.
All right. 2 data sets are shown. Which data set consists of data interval? Which data sets consists of data at the ratio level?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it says 2 data sets are shown. Which data set consists of data at the interval level, and which data set consists of data at the ratio level? So again, the interval level, we can put it in order. We can talk about the difference between the entries, but at the interval level, 0 serves more like a placeholder, and it doesn't mean none. At the ratio level, 0 is an inherent 0, and 0 does mean none, right? So notice both of these charts are basically have numbers associated with it. So we have numbers. We can talk about the difference between the entries. But again, keep in mind, interval level, 0 is a placeholder on a scale. We can actually go negative. At the ratio level, 0 means none, right? So if we look at this first chart on the left, does your intuition say that is that chart the interval level, or is that chart the ratio level? Where interval level means 0 is a placeholder, ratio level means that 0 means none. So is the one on the left, is that interval or is that ratio? If you had to guess. And if you don't know, it's okay to say I don't know. Okay. So we're trying to decide versus interval versus ratio. Again, interval means 0 is a placeholder, so we can actually go negative. For instance, if we're looking at the chart on the left, it's about years, right? So if we think about, say we have year 0. If we have year 0, can we talk about time before year 0?
No.
Yeah, because like we have AD, and then what is the BC? Is that right? Like we could talk about years before year 0. Does that make sense? Like on a timeline. So we should be able to talk about years before year 0. That's where BC is, like before Christ. So we can go before 0. So because 0 is like a placeholder on a scale, that first chart should be the interval level. If we look at the chart on the right is about total home runs by teams. So if we think about the 0 there, does 0 mean none in that case? Like if a team has 0 home runs, can we talk about a team having negative home runs? What's the least number of home runs that a team can have? Can a team have 0 home runs? Yeah, you know the answer. Can a team, and anybody can chime in. This is open to the whole class actually. Can a team have 0 home runs?
Yes.
Can a team have negative home runs?
What did you say?
Can a team have negative home runs?
No.
Right. We can't go below 0. The least number of home runs that a team can have would be 0. So the chart on the right represents what we mean by 0 being an inherent 0. That's like 0 means none. So the one on the right is an example of the ratio level. On the chart on the left, we can actually go into negatives. Like we can go before 0. 0 is kind of like a placeholder on a time scale. Like if we look at a timeline, when we go before 0, then we're talking about BC. So 0 doesn't mean no years in that context. 0 is just a placeholder. So the chart on the chart on the left should be the interval level. The chart on the right should be the ratio level. Okay. So how do we feel about that? Any questions, comments, or concerns?
I mean, it's not bad, but it's just gonna take some getting used to.
It does take a little bit to get used to. It definitely does. Let's. I think we're almost done with this section. Let's kind of look at the next slide. So this is kind of a summary of the different levels. The nominal level is only qualitative data. There are no numbers there at the nominal level. So we can put the data in categories, but we can't put it in any kind of order. We can't talk about the difference between the entries, and there is no sense of a 0 there, right? At the ordinal level, not only can we put the data in categories, but we can also put it in order. But we can't talk about the differences between entries. Pardon?
I was gonna say we can't subtract data value because it was saying no.
Right, exactly. At the interval level, not only can we put it in a category and we can put it in order, but now we can start talking about the difference between the entries. Let's go back to the previous slide. So for instance, at the interval level, like if we say like, what's the difference between 1958 and 1953? If we said 1958 minus 1953, what result did we get? I think it's what, like 5 years, right? So the difference between those entries is a difference of 5 years. So we can subtract them. It makes sense, you know. Even at the ratio level, we can subtract. But the difference is the interval level, 0 is just a placeholder on the scale, and we can go negative. At the ratio level, 0 means none. Right, so 0 means, and we can't go negative, right? So that kind of takes a little getting used to, and that's just a little bit of terminology. Let me see what's on the next slide. Let me do like, will this allow me to do that? No, this is going to mute me. Can I do it here? Let's do like this. Okay, there should be a shortcut for that. And this is just a summary of some examples, and basically these next 2 slides are summaries of examples of what we mean by these different types. Okay, let me load. I'm gonna go ahead. Let me see. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go like this, so I'm not showing sensitive information. I'm gonna go ahead and share. Actually, you already have access to this. So what I'm gonna do, since we didn't write anything, I'm just gonna load the next section. So that was 1.2. Let's go ahead and load 1.3. Actually, not like that. Let's go here. And did I get kicked out? It looks like I did. Oh no, it's just, there it is. That's what I wanted. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about that for right now. Let's go ahead and upload another file. And let's go ahead and load 1.3. What time is it? So we should have time to get through 1.3. I'm going to let that load. Hello, hello. Come on. Okay. So let's go ahead and open up. We want to share this one. Share now. Now, how do I go like this? Nope, that's not it. Nope. Do I have to do that? I don't know why it looks like that. Can I share? Um. Okay, what I'm gonna do, I'll be right back. Join the session. All right, so this looks better. Let's go like this and like this. Allow. Okay. Share the video. And go ahead.
You keep track of all the login information, right, for the Pearson?
Yeah, I can see when you log in, what you submitted. Yeah, I can see all of that.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, like, when are your office hours, or when do you actually leave today?
Just contact me. I mean, my office hours are Tuesday, Thursday, 9 to 11:30. But just reach out to me and we can like sit down and talk about it or whatever. But let's do it. So I'm not done today until like 3 o'clock, and I know I'm going to be tired. But just email me and we'll link up. Are you trying to get on Pearson?
Think so. I'm really trying to make sure.
So to get on Pearson, what you do, go to the syllabus, and there's one page that looks different than all the others, and it gives instructions on how to register for Pearson. You want to follow those instructions, and then when you're prompted for an access code, if you go to our announcements in Moodle, the access code is in one of the announcements.
Well, I mean, I should already be registered. It's just that
how to
log in information.
Yeah, so you log in, and then you can update with a full access code. You can update it with your access code. So we'll look at it. Yeah, we'll look at it. We'll take a look at it.
Okay, because I just want to make sure.
And as long as you have like temporary access, you can honestly work through the weekend and you'll be fine, and you'll have enough time to kind of figure it out. Okay. All right. So, I'm feeling the burn. I think we got about 20 or 30 minutes remaining. I think we go until about 125. So let's kind of power through a little bit. All right, so we got a good amount of slides. This should get us to the end of lecture. So if we're being live right now, if you're a current student, you want to definitely be in a collaborate session, because I think that these slides don't require a lot of writing. It's just a discussion. Sorry. It's just a discussion, so we don't have to do a lot of writing, so it's best to be in collaborate right now. I'm still going to continue streaming on YouTube, but to be current and be able to respond to questions and things of that nature, you definitely want to be on collaborate. And I'm going to mute all the audio right now. Okay. All right, moving along. I guess if that video's there, I don't really need this one. So I'm going to let that be. What else? What are my options? All right. So let's go here. So we're going to move into section 1.3, data collection and experimental design. Let me see who's still here. Okay, it looks like everybody's here, so I'm not going to worry about that. Okay. So some objectives for this section: how to design a statistical study and how to distinguish between an observational study and an experiment, how to collect data by using a survey or a simulation, how to design an experiment, how to create a sample using random sampling, simple random sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling, and systematic sampling, and how to identify a bias sample. So, this stuff is like terminology. It can be a little bit like open to interpretation. Some of the topics, I do the best that I can. I would be kind of lax. You'll see how the homework goes, honestly. So, because we have access to our homework in advance, what that means is that you actually have access to the exam in advance. Because all I'm going to do is that when I go to make our exam, I'm just going to go to the homework on Pearson, choose a few questions at random, and that'll be our exam. Choose a few questions at random and change the numbers, and that'll be our exam, right? So, once you kind of get through the homework and you're getting through it and consistently getting them correct, then you should be fine for my exam. I'm trying to keep this as simple, as light as possible. As long as you do the homework, you should be fine. Okay, I might take a break because I feel like I'm fading. We got about 20 minutes. I'm going to try to keep going. Can I get someone to read this slide for me? And I'm totally going to get a snack. Hello, is anyone there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can Mr. Tenney, you mind reading this for me?
No problem.
Appreciate you.
Identify the variables of interest, the focus, and the population of the study. 2, develop a detailed plan for collecting data. If you use a sample, make sure the sample is representative of the population. 3, collect the data. 4, describe the data using descriptive statistics techniques. 5, interpret the data and make decisions about the population using inferential statistics, and identify any possible errors.
So, sorry. I found myself fading so I was eating a pear. I'm listening. Let me see. Designing a statistical setting. Yeah, Apple. So I was eating a pear. That's too funny.
Hating us Androids.
Nobody hates Androids.
Cap.
All right, we're going to go here. We're going to do this. And let's get back. And we can do this. Oh. All right. Give me just a moment. Sorry about that. So designing a statistical study, first we want to identify the variables or the focus and the population of the study. Develop a detailed plan for collecting the data. If we use a sample, make sure the sample is representative of the population. We don't want to have a biased sample. Then we collect our data, describe the data using descriptive statistics technique, interpret the data, and make a decision about the population using inferential statistics. So let's explore some of these terms and notions of data collection. What's the time? We've got about 20 minutes. So a researcher observes and measures characteristics of interest of part of a population. Researchers measure the amount of time people spent doing various activities such as paid work, childcare, and socializing. Oh, so that's an observational study. In an observational study, a researcher is just going to observe and record what's going on. We're not going to apply a treatment or anything of that nature. Did not mean to do that. No? Okay. Sorry, give me a moment. Okay. Let's keep going. So again, in an observational study, the researcher is going to observe and not really apply any treatment. Now in an experiment, a treatment is going to be applied to part of a population called the treatment group, and responses are going to be observed. So for example, another part of the population may be used as a control. So if we're doing an experiment, we're going to have one group that we apply a treatment to, and another group is going to be a control group where we don't apply any treatment at all. It's just, nothing is done to that group. The subjects in both groups are called experimental units. In many cases, subjects in the control group are given a placebo, which is a harmless fake treatment that is made to look like the real treatment. Okay. An experiment was performed in which overweight subjects were given artificial sweetener sucralose to drink while a control group drank water. After performing a glucose test, researchers concluded that sucralose affects the glycemic and insulin responses in overweight people who do not normally consume artificial sweeteners. So that was just an example of an experiment where a treatment was applied. Again, with this type of data collection, we usually have the treatment group that's given the treatment, and then we have a control group where no treatment is applied. Mr. Tenney, do you mind muting your thing unless you have a question? You there, Mr. Tenney?
My bad.
Yes,
sorry.
It's no worries. Yeah. Okay, let's see what else do we have. Oh, I wish we didn't see the solution. That's why I didn't like this one. That's okay. I'm just gonna do this since the solution is already showing. It would be nice if the solution was not showing though. It says determine whether each study is an observational study. I think I might. Let me see. Can I load it somewhere else? I'm not gonna do that. It's okay. It says determine whether each study is an observational study or an experiment. This one says researchers studied the effect of vitamin D3 supplementation among patients with antibody deficiency or frequent respiratory tract infections. 70 patients received 4,000 IU of vitamin D3 daily for a year. Another group of 70 patients received a placebo daily for a year. Let's see. So if we're applying treatments, that should be an experiment. Because we have a treatment group and a control group. Let me see if I can pull these up so that we don't show. I could pull it up there.
Oh yeah, Mrs. Pfeiffer.
Go ahead.
Also, it was actually displaying the solution right below the question.
Yeah, I know. So I'm trying to I'm gonna pull up the notes off to the side, and try to talk about it without showing the answer. But we might not be able to get around that right now.
Alert.
Yeah, I see it. I see that as well. Let me see. What time is it? Let me see. Here, AppStats, right? Files. This is the right one. Notes. PowerPoint. We're doing section 1.3. That pair is still. All right, and this is slide number 9. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I have the next slide off to the side, and I'm going to just read it. So the next slide says, determine whether each statement is an observational study or an experiment. And in this one, this example goes like this. Researchers conducted a study to determine how confident Americans are in the economy. Researchers called 3,040 U.S. adults and asked them to rate the current U.S. economic conditions and whether the economy is getting better or worse. Do you think that's an example of an observational study or an experiment? So let me read it one more time. Observational study, do we agree? Anybody want to say it's an experiment? Okay. So yeah, I would agree. Let's look at the next slide, right? So again, researchers conducted a study. They called the 40 adults and asked them to rate the current conditions on the U.S. and whether it's getting better or worse. The study does not attempt to influence the responses of the subject. It just makes, so this is an observational study, right? It just makes an observation. Okay, let me look at the next one. Data collection. Okay, a simulation. So, what's the time? How many slides? Oh, we got a good amount of slides. So a simulation uses a mathematical or physical model to reproduce the conditions of a situation or process. It often involves the use of computers. It allows us to study situations that are impractical or even dangerous to create in real life. It often saves time and money. And for instance, automobile manufacturers use simulations with dummies to study effects of crashes on humans. Okay, so that's a simulation versus a survey. Can I get someone to read this? Miss Davis, are you here? I saw you logged in. Miss Davis, are you here? Can you hear me? Are you able to get your audio on? Miss Davis? Hello? Can I get, hello? Maybe you have to give it access to your microphone, maybe? I'm not sure. Because I can see where you're trying, but it's not. I can't hear anything. Can I get another person to read this slide for me? No, we can't hear you. Ms. Diedrich?
Sure, do you want me to read the survey?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's an investigation of one or more characteristics of a population. Surveys are carried out on people by asking them questions. It's commonly done by interview, internet, phone, or mail. And in designing a survey, it's important to word the questions so that they do not lead to biased results, which are not representative of a population.
Give me just a moment. Give me just a moment. I'm going to try to reply to this chat. Agreed, or you may have to give microphone access to your device. Okay, I'm going to send that and close this out. Okay, so again, a survey. Can you interpret? Let me see. An investigation. Can you just describe, like, if we're collecting data via survey, can you just describe that data collection in your own words again, Miss Diedrich? Just describe that in your own words. Like, if you were conducting a survey, what would that look like to you?
Well, in high school, I had to do a science fair project, and I did a survey about left-handed people. So I wrote down a ton of questions of things that might apply to left-handed people, and then gave them out to left-handed people to fill out to find out if they all have those characteristics.
What did your survey reveal?
Well, I kind of did it badly, so it wasn't completely accurate, but a lot of the people did do a lot of the certain characteristics, or have them.
What were this is actually really good because we're going to talk about some of these things. What were some of the pitfalls or the trouble with the way you collected the data? You said you did it badly. What do you mean? What was bad about it, or what kind of messed things up a bit? I'm just curious.
For one, I was supposed to find 100 people to do the survey on, but only like 2% of the population is left-handed, so I could only find 50 people to begin with. So that kind of skewed the results. And then I put too many questions, so it was a lot harder to get legitimate data because it was so scattered.
That's actually really interesting. Yeah, because those what you experienced there actually comes up in our discussion as far as, you know, some of the pitfalls that come when we go to collect data. It's not easy, and it takes a certain kind of like thinking to make sure, okay, is this representative of the population? Am I being biased? Am I leading them on with the question? Like, the way you ask the question kind of influences their results. Like you said, am I asking too many questions? You know, like, can I? That's like a confounding variable, like where if you can't decide, okay, you know, if it's too many variables, you don't know if we're getting this response because of this thing or because of that. So you have to like narrow it down to like one thing or whatever. That was actually really good. That was really good. I'm gonna go back here. Okay, so but yeah, in a survey, again, an investigation of one or more characteristics of a population. Surveys are carried out on people by asking them questions, commonly done by interview, internet, phone, or mail. In designing a survey, it's important to word the questions so that they do not lead to biased results, which are not representative of a population. For instance, a survey is conducted on a sample of female physicians to determine whether the primary reason for their career choice is financial stability. In designing a survey, it would be acceptable to make a list of reasons and ask each individual in the sample to select her first choice. Okay, let me see what's next. So let's look at some experimental design. There are three key elements of a well-designed experiment are control, randomization, and replication. Can I get someone to explain what do they think these three terms mean in their own words? Like, if you see the word control, randomization, and replication, what does that mean to you? I'm just curious. Anybody can explain these in their own words?
This is Miss Diedrich again.
Greetings, Ms. Diedrich. Thank you for announcing yourself so we know who we're speaking with.
Of course. I'm going to say control just means like controlling the aspects of the experiment. Like, I mean, all of the variables that could affect it. And then randomization would be getting randomized participants so that you don't have a biased result, or you're not just getting from a specific group of people. And then replication would be to repeat the experiment exactly the same when you do it, so that you're not adding any other variables.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it too. Like if you're designing an experiment, you know, you want it to be like you're gonna have like a target group or whatever. So you know when you do it, you're able to have a controlled environment and not create a bunch of like influences that can skew our results. The randomization comes in. I agree with what you said. Is like and I know I didn't do the control, but we're gonna look at that in just a moment. Randomization, you know, when we go to collect the data, we want a sample to be random. Because if it's not random, if we just choose, like if we want to get a sense about the group or whatever, and we target a group that's not representative of the population, then that can lead to a biased result. You know what I mean? So we want to, when we do it, there are certain ways that we have for being random, so that we can try to remove any kind of bias from our design. And then replication is like, okay, if you do the experiment again, I'm thinking like, you know, if you run the experiment several times, are you able to reproduce or replicate the results, or reproduce the experiment so that others can do it, you know, and replicate the experiment and have similar results, and see how that works. Let's see how our discussion went. See how did we do. Let me see. I think that's. Let me see something. Yeah, I think that's about. We're gonna go with that for now. So confounding variables, this occurs when an experimenter cannot tell the difference between the effects of different factors on a variable. Let me see, what's the time? For instance, a coffee shop owner remodels her shop at the same time a nearby mall has its grand opening. If business at the shop increases, she can't tell if it's because of the remodeling or because of the new mall. Right? There are too many variables going on. So she did see an increase, but she doesn't know the cause of it. Is it because the mall down the street, you know, just opened up and they did a grand opening? Or I just want to go like this. Is it because of the mall opening, or is it because of the remodeling of her company? And that's important, because if she has another location, she wants to decide, well, should I remodel to increase my, you know, customers, the amount of customers at this other location, or, you know, so she has to get to the bottom of what caused the increase in her at her shop, increased in customers at her shop. So confounding variable continue. It says the placebo effect occurs when a subject reacts favorably to a placebo when in fact the subject has been given a fake treatment. To help control or minimize the placebo effect, a technique called blinding can be used. Okay, so let's look at blinding. Blinding is a technique where the subject does not know whether he or she is receiving a treatment. Sometimes is receiving a treatment or a placebo. If people know that it's a placebo, then they're gonna be influenced, and, you know, they might kind of intentionally or subconsciously show results saying, well, I know this is a placebo, so it's not going to work, so it's not going to work. Versus the person, if you do the blinding technique and you're applying a treatment, then if the person doesn't know whether it's the actual treatment or if it's a placebo, you tell them that it's a treatment, but they don't know if it's the actual treatment or if it's a placebo. And you kind of observe the results. A double-blind experiment is going to be neither the subject nor the experimenter knows if the subject is receiving a treatment or a placebo. So in a blind experiment, the subject doesn't know whether it's a treatment or a placebo. In a double-blind, the experimenter and the subject both don't know whether it's a treatment or a placebo. Okay, so these are some of the designs that we have as far as blinding is concerned. Randomization is a process of randomly assigning subjects to different treatment groups. Completely randomized, our subjects are assigned to different treatment groups through random selection. Let me see. And then randomized block design, it divides the subject with similar characteristics into blocks, and then with each block, randomly assign the subjects to treatment groups. Subjects are assigned to different treatment groups through random selection. Okay, so completely randomized design. We're assigning them to groups based on the random selection. Those are a little bit kind of like this for me. I'm going to kind of let those be. And then the randomized block design, we divide the subjects with a similar characteristic into blocks, and then we assign them through randomly assign them to different groups. Let's see. So the randomized block design might be something like this, where you have your subjects, and then you might break them into groups based on like age, right? So you have the 30-year-olds are here, 40-year-olds are here, so on and so on. And then from that block, from those blocks, we were going to randomly assign the subjects to another group, either the control group or the treatment group. So that's just kind of like a brief overview of randomized block design. I want to go for a couple of more minutes. I'm going to just do a quick scan. Match pairs design is where subjects attendance, Ms. Davis. Okay, we are almost out of time. Let me kind of do a quick scan, and I'll check my attendance again. Match pairs design. Subjects are paired up according to similarity. One subject in a pair is randomly selected to receive one treatment while the other receives a different treatment. Let me see. I might have to leave the rest of this. The sample size is the number of subjects in a study is very important. Replication, the repetition of an experiment using a large group of subjects. So for instance, to test a vaccine against a strain of influenza, 10,000 people are given the vaccine and another 10,000 are given a placebo. Because of the sample size, the effectiveness of the vaccine would be most likely observed. So if we did the same experiment with only like 3 people, that wouldn't be enough replication to get a good sense of if this treatment works or not. Let me kind of do a quick scan. I'm going to have to leave this as an example. I'm going to have to leave, as an exercise for you. I'm going to have to leave this one as well because we're pretty much out of time. Some more sampling techniques. Sampling is like how we choose our subjects. So a census is a countermeasure of an entire population. A sampling is a countermeasure of part of the population, is more commonly used in statistical studies. Even with the best method of sampling, a sampling error may occur. A sampling error is the difference between the results of a sample and those of the population, right? So we might get results with a sample, but it might be different than what's actually going on with the population, right? So that's a sampling error. A random sample is every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. A simple random sample, every possible sample of the same size has the same chance of being selected. So a random sample, every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected, versus a simple random sample, every sample of the same size has an equal chance of being selected. I'm going to have to leave this for you. I'm going to have to leave this as an exercise. This question says, this example, it says select the students who will belong to a simple random sample. So we have 731 students in this course at the school. We want to form a sample of 8 students to answer some questions. So if we have all 731 students, and we want to randomly choose 8 students, if we want to choose 8 students at random, we can use this chart. This is called a random number chart. What you would do, this is in the back of our book. This is table 1 for random numbers. You can choose any row and any column as a starting point. And then if we have 731, we can break it off into groups of 3, right? So if we look at, like, if we choose column 2, row 3, we start at that point. The first 3 says take student number 719. The next 3 say take student 662. And it's 738. Notice that the 738 is larger than the 731, so we would ignore the 738. And so this is a way to kind of get a list of random numbers to randomly choose 8 people from 1 to 731, okay? Let me see. I'm just going to do a quick scan. I'm going to have to leave this. Just come ask me if, at a later point, if any of these don't make sense, okay? And I'll be available to kind of answer questions. So this section was a lot about terminology. I want to say that these slides are, to access them, you want to use our box link. I know that there was one student that needed attendance credit, so I'll go ahead and update my attendance credit. If does anyone have any questions? I'm going to go back to the waiting room so I can do my attendance. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask?
I need attendance credit.
Okay, so let me see. Let me go to attendance. I think I got you earlier because I know that you were there and you were not there when I took attendance earlier, but I did give you credit. This is Mr. Tenney, right?
Yes, sir.
I did give you credit.
Really, I didn't know at the time I needed to be on that Wednesday lecture because I never knew that the lectures were actually for attendance.
Yeah, it's okay. So yeah, for like this first week or so, it's kind of lax. Just until we figure out and we work out the kinks of being live and being present for attendance. I know that Miss Davis came in. Is anybody else in attendance, like on Collaborate, that did not officially get attendance credit, that would like to get attendance credit? Give me just a second. I'm going to mute my YouTube. So with YouTube, we're going to go ahead and end our session here, and let me do like this. Let me actually go here. And let me do like this just to show my image. So we're going to go ahead and end the session here on YouTube. I'll be on Collaborate for a moment just to kind of chat with the students. But we're going to end the session here. And from one beautiful mind to another, enjoy the rest of your day. Peace. I'm going to go ahead and I was just doing my log out for YouTube. All right. Give me just a moment. I'm coming back over to Collaborate.